That's what we're making today. It's beautiful and delicious. I've been going over my recipe that I've just put up. Whenever I do a new recipe, I like to double check my proportions and how I have it lined up and what I'm expecting to get out of it. So I want to make really good quality recipes for you. This is cinnamon rolls. This is a good recipe. I've decided to make a recipe that was based on a French recipe. It's called a brioche. Okay, and what we're going to be doing is making basically what they refer to as a butter bread. And on top of that butter bread, we're then going to add some cinnamon and sugar and, well, you know, we're going to roll it up in a swirl, cut it up, pan it up, bake it up, and dine on it. Okay, delicious stuff. Really, really good recipe here. And we're going to have some fun making it. So come on over, let me show you these ingredients. We'll talk about them and get busy making cinnamon rolls. Come on. The ingredients we're using today, I have a really rich assortment of goodies here. It's going to start right over here with our bread. We have flour, half and half, eggs, yeast, sugar, salt, and butter. And for that filling, we're going to be using some white sugar, some brown sugar, and cinnamon along with butter. Now, if you'll notice, both of these recipes have plenty of butter, and that's on purpose. Okay, this is a very rich, buttery dish, and this is absolutely necessary. But these need to be room temperature. So make sure you have that going on. And the rest of the ingredients, if you bring them up to room temperature before making the dough, you're really going to get a better result on this. This is a very easy to handle dough, and it is really kind of fun to work with. I was just heating my half and half in the microwave. I've got it about 107 degrees, 107.4, and that's really perfect. You want this liquid to be somewhere between 105 110 degrees. A microwave's a good way to do it, and that took me less than a minute to get it there. And that was from refrigerator cold, okay? So cream heats quickly, be careful. And of course, even though this isn't heavy cream, it's still half and half, so it's halfway there. All right, now I'm going to take this and combine it with my yeast and sugar, and I'm going to let those proof for just about 1 minute, just enough to get it kind of frothy and starting to wake up and rise. I have a very active yeast here. It's a commercial fast rise. I recommend a fast rising yeast for this, or bread machine yeast works good. Go with that. Now, after I get these in there and it's been there for about a minute and it's foaming up a little bit, then I'm going to add my flour and my eggs and salt and get all that worked in. After all of that's forming a nice dough and it has started to activate the gluten in this, that's when I'm going to start working in that butter. So it's important that we get the gluten activated before we start adding butter to this, okay? I've already got all of our dough ingredients incorporated with the exception of the butter. I'm going to give this 4, maybe 5 minutes of kneading time in the bowl before adding the butter, and then we'll knead it a little bit more. I've just finished getting my butter down in this, and as you can see, it's acting a little bit weird and wonky and funky, and that's normal. You just give it enough kneading time that it comes together, and soon enough, this is going to be workable, okay? You're not going to get it stuck to your hands. Normally, a high hydration dough would, but this much butter really helps you to be able to work this without it getting stuck to everything. Here we have the dough is starting to rise up really nice. It's almost as high as I want it. I want it to dome a little more. However, look at this. Look at the side of it. You see all of those pockets of air? That's what we're looking for. That's what a good high hydration dough gives you. And that's the structure on the inside is going to end up being not too dissimilar. All right, so what we have is a dough that's great for that. I'm going to let this keep rising a little more. I'll put the cover back on it and we'll give it probably another 10, maybe 15 minutes. And then I'm going to knead it, put it back in there, rise it a second time. And then after that, once it's risen, we will then make our cinnamon rolls and let those rise. All right, I have just finished kneading this and getting it back down in the bowl. And if you'll notice, almost nothing on my hands, all right? And that's because of the extra butter that's in this. I didn't have to flour my board or anything. So I'm going to get this rise going again. It's going to be probably about another hour or so, and we're going to watch that timer so we know. And when it's done, that's when we're going to start in with doing the butter and the cinnamon sugar mixture, and then rolling it up and cutting out those beautiful cinnamon rolls. Here it is. This is my second rise, and it is only 47 minutes at this point. Folks, all I need to do now is get this rolled out into a rectangle. I'm looking for something that's about 2 feet wide roughly, or maybe a little less. And then I'm going to put my butter on it, spread that out, and combine my sugars with the cinnamon and put that over the top of it. Then I'm going to roll it up, cut it into my cinnamon rolls, and line my pan. And you need to think about how many cinnamon rolls do you want. If you want 12 cinnamon rolls and you want them to be only an inch tall, then you only need a 12-inch wide roll. Okay, that's all there is to it. The wider the roll, the taller those will be, but they're also going to be a little smaller in diameter. Remember though, see how much it has blossomed? It's going to rise up. I'm going to get my sugars and my cinnamon stirred together. Just do that in a bowl, and then apply it over the dough that you have your butter on. Then roll it, cut it, and place it in a nice greased and floured pan. So folks, that's all there is to this. It's a pretty simple thing over all in all. Okay, I have these. They have been fixed up, cut out, and laid in our pan. What I want to do next, this right here, just to keep moisture in while they're rising up. I want them to puff up nice and pretty, basically like what we've just done, where we allowed it to triple in bulk. That's what we're doing here. We're just going to let them go and puff up, and once they're looking large and pretty, that is when we're going to bake them up. Now I'm going to start a timer the same way I did on the last ones. Folks, 41 minutes now, and look at the difference. I mean, oh my goodness. These are fantastic looking, aren't they? Beautiful, puffed up, thick. Oh, I'll tell you what, these are going to have the kind of bread texture and structure inside of them that you'd really like to see in your cinnamon roll. And I'm looking forward to baking them. So I'm going to give them about, roughly another 5 to 10 minutes. They hit the oven at 375 degrees, and they're going to bake in there until it's a beautiful golden brown across the top. Now, this is a new recipe for me. I've never cooked these up before, so I can't say that, it's going to take X number of minutes. You're just going to have to watch this one. After I'm finished cooking it, I'll let you know how long it took me, and we'll know what we're doing there. So, simple enough. A few more minutes, and it gets cooked. I need to cover the pan with foil for about the first 15 minutes of cooking. So here we go, 375 degrees. 15 minutes, then we remove the foil and finish it up. Look at that. See, that's the effect we're looking for. Now I can crisp it over on the top. That's going to be good. The quantity of everything that we have used today in this recipe, well, let's start with that flour right back here. Our flour, that was 580 grams of flour, roughly 4 1/4 cups. The half and half, we're using about 1.5 cups of half and half, and that brings up to about 350 grams on the weight. 2 large eggs, which is generally equivalent in volume to 1/2 cup of liquid. So if you figure this, we're using, 2 cups of liquid to 4 1/2 or 4 1/4 cups of flour, and that is a fairly high hydration. So it gives you a nice soft dough. The yeast here, I use the equivalent of 1 dry package, and that would be 7 grams of yeast. Right here on the sugar, we're using 45 grams of sugar. That is a 1/4 cup. And the salt right over here, I used 5 grams of salt. It's the same as 1 teaspoon. All right, that is the bread recipe. But over here, we had that filling. That's, and I forget, 1 stick of butter. That's 113 grams of butter, or 1/2 cup. Same thing on the filling, half a cup of butter, 113 grams, and then we're going to use 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar, and the weight on that cinnamon, that comes to 5 grams. 50 grams of brown sugar, 45 grams of sugar, and that is also another 1/4 cup. So that's the filling. We have beautiful cinnamon rolls. They're going to be out in just a moment. So let's take a look at that next. My total cook time was 30 minutes. That was 15 minutes covered with foil, another 15 uncovered, and then I simply inverted the pan to remove these nice and clean. Now, do that when they're first out of the oven, when they're still hot. Otherwise, that sugar will solidify against the pan and they're going to be all kinds of hell to remove. Do that early. I have here 3 cups of confectioner sugar and a little bit of heavy cream, and I'm going to mix those together about a tablespoon at a time until I get a nice, beautiful glaze that I can pour over the top of these. I will not do that until these are cool. I don't want it seeping too deep on them, all right? I have my confectioner sugar here. It's about 3 cups. And I have some cream here. Now, the amount of cream will just depend on how thick you want your glaze to be. We're going to start a tablespoon at a time, stirring it in. And trust me, it does not take much at all to turn this into a liquid. It's really strange the way powdered sugar works. Now I've mixed together a beautiful glaze here using just cream and powdered sugar. As you see, came out lovely. And you just keep mixing in the cream slowly until you get the texture you're looking for. I chose something just like this, very thick, spreadable, not so much pourable, okay? That's what I was looking for. These are ready to get covered. As soon as they are glazed over with our glaze, they're ready to enjoy. I like to cool these down a bit before I do this. They're just barely warm when I touch the bottom of the pan. It's not hot to the touch, but it is warm. Okay, so I'm right at that right point for glazing. Oh, look at that. Isn't that magnificent? That's what I'm talking about. Some beautiful real cinnamon rolls. It's so light, delicate, and beautiful. This is what we were going for. Beautiful, gorgeous cinnamon rolls. And this, absolutely decadent. If you want a fantastic cinnamon roll recipe, you found it right here. Fantastic one. If you would, please do me a favor. Take a look right underneath here, the description box. I'm going to learn a little more about Texas cooking today. I'm going to find a link to my website, also a link to Texas Cooking Today. And if you would, please take a look at those. That's where you're going to find the recipes. And also, if you would, please subscribe, click the like button there, and if you would, please drop a comment in the comments box if you have a suggestion, a request. I like those. Thank you very much, and folks, you have a good day. Bye-bye.